check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow. So the restream does all that, huh? Damn.
Yeah.
Let me check.
All right, we're live, everyone. Welcome to another episode of DJs and Beers. This is episode number 4. The crew is here. We have the secret special guest. Is he still here?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Don't
he.
say anything. We'll let him hang
Well,
there.
we know it's a he.
How was the week, everyone?
Pretty good for me, actually.
Yeah.
The remix contest is finally over. It was finished on Monday, and I counted 659 remix submissions.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's about. I was expecting maybe half of that, so the response is pretty great. I haven't made a decision yet, but I've narrowed it down to a handful. And in the next 1 or 2 days, I'm going to pick the winner. And yeah, the winner is going to share the vinyl with Matt. He's doing a remix. I have Lawrence Flax doing a remix. She already finished hers, and Josh Wink as well. He finished a remix as well. So the winner's going to get to share a vinyl with them, which would be pretty cool. The problem is I don't know when the vinyl will be pressed because pressing plants are closed at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
So might be a bit of a wait, but I'm sure it's worth the wait.
You should tell Dietrich to press at Capsule Labs in LA. I'm sure Gil will do a run.
Is he still running?
I mean, it's a pretty small operation. I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah, that's true, huh? Yeah, maybe I should bring that up. So yeah, that's
how long did you give everyone to work on the remix? Like a week?
Month.
Oh, a month. That's why you got that many.
Yeah, after I was thinking about that, I was like, what, if I do another one of these, I think I'm gonna do half that time because it's a lot.
I would do a week.
1 week. I think 2 weeks is fair.
Yeah.
You gotta make people stress and try to work under
the funny thing
under
is
the kind of conditions we all grew up working under,
Yeah. The funny thing is on SoundCloud, the stems have been downloaded over 3,000 times. So I'm like, what are these people doing with these sounds?
They're gonna just rip your track off and just start.
Yeah, totally.
There's gonna be all sorts of remixes, unreleased. I mean, unofficial remixes.
It's fine because ultimately it promotes you. So.
Just a side note, I still don't see this streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, me neither.
I see it, but I'm not sure if it's working.
I see it on Ali's channel on Facebook.
Hey, Ali, we're on your Facebook now.
Yeah.
Are we? I'm talking to Justin now to see what's going on. But apparently...
Which YouTube are you looking at? My page or my channel?
I'm looking at your YouTube channel, Chris.
Yeah. But anyways,
and people are
still figuring this out, people. Huh?
People are commenting on Ali's page saying that there's no YouTube stream.
I think Justin needs to switch a switch. What?
Justin,
I'm just going to call him. He said he's on the phone with Neil.
Lift the switch?
So.
Okay.
So who's got the pressure now?
Uh-oh.
I can always switch over to my YouTube and we're on my YouTube again.
Is this your social media management, Chris?
No. Neil and Justin figured all that out while I was sitting here.
Hey, Justin. Chris is saying Chris, you're not on?
No, we're not on my YouTube right now.
Chris, you're on Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook, but he's not on it.
I don't even know Periscope.
It's connecting to YouTube.
2 followers.
Who's getting their house worked on?
What's happening here?
I hear hammers and stuff.
Just keep talking. I'm getting.
Where is this?
So Neil's saying that he can see it. Neil's saying it's working.
Okay. Do you think it's better just to work on this for next week and just we'll shut down and then we'll just do it regular?
To work on this for next week
says video is unavailable. Video is
On
private.
Chris's, but except YouTube is the important one for him.
Yeah.
It says unavailable.
You're talking to Neil right now, right? Okay, we're live, guys.
Live.
But it's
How was
just
everybody
not
else this week?
they're working on your sorry, your YouTube, Chris. It's sending data, but for some reason it's not coming up.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, so you guys see DJs doing things they normally don't do, right? Restreaming.
Okay, all right.
Restreaming. Well, what we tried to do today is what we were wanting to like stream on not only my YouTube channel, we wanted to stream it on all our Facebook channels, actually. That's what I thought was going on in the background. Woo.
It's
But
not happening.
now we're, I guess, only on. Is anybody watching so we can say hello to the people?
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
say hello
watching-
just in case people are watching. Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah,
This is like those dystopian movies where like you get on the walkie-talkie or the CV and you're like, hey, is anybody out there? If you can hear me,
well,
we're safe.
I'm watching Ali's Facebook page, and there's people commenting and watching, and I can see the stream. So that's for sure on yours.
Hey.
See, Miami's in the house. Someone's drinking. No,
I think we need to
yeah.
get. I need to get a beer very soon.
You didn't have one yet?
No, I didn't. I did not. Wait, what is going on here?
Drinking.
I think we need to get. I need to get.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Poor secret special guest.
They're just waiting. What the hell's going on? This is so
What did I get
unorganized.
myself into?
What did I get myself into here?
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. Hold on. Trying to fix
Well,
it here.
Yeah, I mean, we should just keep going just on Ali's channel then.
Yeah.
There's
Somehow I'm
1,200
gonna get
people-
blamed for this.
There's 1,200 people watching.
Oh.
They're like, let's get it going, guys. Palmdale. Oh wow.
All right, let's get it going.
Greece. Georgia.
What'd you guys do last week?
I've been doing
Besides
the
go
remix.
through 700 like potential remixes.
That was my week. So I had a
I
pretty.
think I just did it because my video was apparently set on private. That's why nobody was able to watch. So now we are on public.
Okay.
Ah,
We should also be, if you refresh the link, we should also be.
I like how your space is
Ah.
evolving, Chris.
It's working.
My what is evolving? The cave?
You're the space that you're in.
Yeah.
I see new gear. I see different setup. It's looking
Okay.
like the bunker now.
I feel more and more comfortable in here.
Yeah, you look comfortable.
I do think it's working now. I'm not
Yep.
sure. There's like messages everywhere. What's going on? Hey, secret guest, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it look like we're actually live now. I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all good now, guys.
We're all good?
So we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to stress.
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. Shall I introduce us again? We're just like 16 minutes late. Welcome to
Sure.
episode 4 of DJs and Beers. We're
I'm
at
already.
the beginning.
I'm almost finished with my beer already.
And the first beer is already finished. That's amazing. That's great, guys. So we all had a great week. We all discussed our great week while nobody was online yet. How about we just continue because we have this secret guest waiting here for like 30 minutes already. David, what can you tell us about him? It's your secret guest.
I guess the only thing I could say is that everybody knows him, and you've all worked with him in some sort of way in the past. That's the only thing.
Wow.
Sounds like a very similar thing that was said to introduce the last guest last week.
Right.
Is he
No, but
American?
Yes, he's American.
Okay.
City?
No, that's too obvious.
That's so obvious.
Philadelphia.
Huh?
Philadelphia.
No, no.
What's the first letter of their DJ name?
D.
Ah,
Of
I
what?
think I got it already. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
Say it.
You
Ah,
want me to say it?
No. Mo, if Mo knows. Anybody here in the chat
Well,
knows?
If you know Mo, just say it.
It sounds like it's going to be Dustin's on.
yeah, the broth of
Oh,
Carl.
yeah, Dustin.
Dustin!
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Good evening.
Look at that jacket.
Yeah, I'm cozy.
You're all pimped
Where are you,
out.
Dustin?
I'm in Berlin. Yeah. I've been living here for a while now, and I thought about going back kind of right before the crisis started kicking off, but thank God that I didn't.
Yeah, I was talking to David G. Tronic today, and he said he's already gotten, I don't know how much money they're doling out for relief to musicians and stuff, but he's already got something. And he's not even German, he's American.
Yeah, well, it kind of, I think as long as you have a Steuer number, which is like a tax number, if I'm not mistaken, and you're kind of on the record as a freelancer, you can apply for that amount, which I got. That's cool. They give, for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, Germany did a program for people who were doing freelance gigs, whether it's like you're an artist or a musician or whatever, and we each got $5,000, which is really awesome.
Wow.
I mean, like I'm here legally, but I live. It's a very much a like taxation without representation scenario. So to get anything was like really overwhelming, and I'm super thankful for that. You know, and like now the States is rolling out some money for people too, but like I've had this money for a little bit now. You know, like they're really quick on it for everybody, so that's good.
They've actually run out. Saw in the news today. The small
Yeah, I mean-
business loan fund that they set up, they've run out.
Well, people were taking advantage of it as you'd expect, and they started it again, but I think it was under like stronger restrictions. But I think it was just overwhelming the amount of people that were looking for money, and you know, rightfully deserved it. Now, I'm not completely sure on this, but I think everybody that has like a regular job, they're entitled to 80% of their pay. Chris, maybe you know
I have
about
no
that?
idea, because you have
Okay.
different rules in Berlin again than we have here in Frankfurt.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in Frankfurt things are much slower. We don't have that artist or community here that you have
I
in
thought
Berlin.
that was like totally a all of Germany thing.
Nah, I think every city even has different ways to approach that. And Berlin was like the quickest city that gave everyone money. Matt, you told me yesterday that people even living not in Berlin but just having a company get money.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay.
There's also very strict guidelines on that. I was actually speaking to somebody else today that's got a restaurant across the street, and you can get a good amount of money, but they're like, you can't spend it to pay staff. You can't do this. There's like a lot of specific rules. So it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to make it easy
That's a lot more
to get
money
free
than-
money.
Than what they would give in the States.
Absolutely. But I think, I don't know, I mean, like, I don't really keep up with the States news as much since I'm here now, but I heard there was a possibility of yet another stimulus check.
Here in Germany?
No, in the States.
In the US.
I-
Yeah,
they didn't even send the first one out yet, didn't they?
They're coming out now, yeah.
With
I haven't
Donald Trump's
gotten
name
any.
on it.
Well, they're most of them are direct deposits. Depends on how you done your taxes last year.
Did you guys get that already? The deposit?
I haven't gotten it yet. No.
No.
Did
As
you
a
have
matter of
to
fact,
do
I
something
didn't
in order
even
to get
file
it?
my 2019 taxes yet, so I had to sign up some form for someone who didn't file their 19 taxes, and apparently it's supposed to be coming in soon.
Yeah, because they pushed the tax date in the U.S. to July now instead of April. It would have been yesterday they would have been due, but they pushed it to July 15th.
So the check that you're getting now, you can send them basically back in April.
What do you mean? Send it back.
You get money now, but then you have to pay taxes in May or something. So you basically send the money back right away.
Well, apparently, I don't know if it's true, but I heard something about that this stimulus check is like an advance on next year's tax returns or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but I saw this somewhere. So it's not really free money, but
I think someone is just printing money somewhere, isn't it? Like how it works. Dustin, don't you know these things?
Well, apparently it's Trump bucks. He wants his name on the money in the States.
Trump
He wants a
dollars
signature on it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
On the checks that go out.
No,
have his face. It just has his face on it.
It's
Jeez.
hilarious. The
You're gonna wanna
daily
take on the
briefings.
$1 bill next.
I have not watched the news in like 3 weeks, so I don't know. Other than what people tell me, I don't know what's going on.
How is the situation outside in like supermarkets, toilet paper and everything in LA?
I went to the supermarket yesterday, and food-wise was pretty fine. Like, except for the hard things to find were like flour and sugar. Toilet paper though, still like napkins, toilet paper, cleaning products, like disinfecting products, all empty.
no.
But like produce and food and meat and all that stuff, it's all completely stocked up.
We
And they
might start
actually,
seeing a decline in produce coming soon too, as well, because a lot of people who work in the farms locally in California are starting to get deductions in their paychecks, and a lot of them are just not showing up.
Wow.
So they're starting to warn the fact that if we don't start paying these people more, that the food's going to stop showing up at our groceries soon. I mean, the produce, fresh produce will.
great.
Fun times ahead.
Yeah.
But one
But
thing
man,
I
I'm
noticed,
telling you,
one thing I
it's-
noticed yesterday is like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when I went to the supermarket, they were limiting certain items, like 1 or 2 per customer.
Yeah.
That was pretty gone now. Like there was no more signs around. So I don't know if that's a good sign or not.
I mean, they came on the news and they did this big press thing saying, people don't panic. We have plenty of food. There's no shortage. But I don't know why. I just wasn't buying that. Because
I'm not
it's
buying
like,
anything they're saying.
yeah, it's like they just don't want people to freak out and panic, and they don't want people to, just buy and consume everything and save something for everybody else. But there is certainly a shortage if everything is always constantly sold out when you go.
No, it's just they can't restock it fast enough.
Yeah, but eventually people are, we're going to run out of fucking pasta. You know what I mean? That's all people are buying. And like, you have to be able to go to these factories to make this stuff. And if you can't go to work, then how are you going to buy the pasta?
But life in Berlin is good, right?
It
For
seems
me
like
personally, it's pretty awesome right now. But I mean, the situation is terrible. But, I mean, like, I get to wake up, I make good food, I make music, I play some games, and I hang out. It's like I'm 18 again. Like, that part's really cool. It's what I'm worried about is what comes after this. That's going to be rough, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, I heard today from my label manager who's based in Berlin that they've canceled all music events now till the end of August, which doesn't surprise me.
The big ones, they were kind of unclear on the small ones, though.
yeah.
I think it's going to be much longer than that.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be, by the time we get back to the grind, it'll probably be spring or summer next year.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mentally prepared.
I
for that.
guess slowly every one of us and everyone out there here needs to face the fact that maybe this year there is no clubs or festivals anymore, of what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
It sucks. You don't want to be negative about it, and you want to stay positive. But I mean, it's kind of looking like that's the reality.
I think also the reality will be if small clubs are able to open, they'll have obviously far less people will be allowed to go. And I think everyone's going to have to engage in these social distancing kind of norms. And also, wiping your hands with sanitizer, putting on gloves and masks before you go into a club. So you'll be like, interacting with other people with gloves and masks on. And who wants to do that? It's strange. I think restaurants are going to be like that too.
Haven't the ravers done it in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to
What are those videos you see those guys wearing like they're like gas masks and they have like dreadlocks and they're always doing the same dance?
Dancing Goths.
The American
What is
thing.
it?
The Dancing Goths or whatever.
Is that, oh, okay.
We call them.
you guys remember Alternate?
No,
From the
oh, yeah,
Ravens,
Alternate. They were way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. And so is I Hate Models been way ahead of the curve.
Hey, models. Who else wears a mask? SNTS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Headless Horseman.
Headless. That's not really a mask.
So let me ask you this, guys. I mean, do you think we'll see an increase in like illegal underground parties until clubs and festivals and stuff pick up?
That's a difficult question for us to answer because that's all we have in here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the States, it seems like we're just going back to 15, 20 years ago, which was a struggle to begin with.
Actually, that might be a bad idea because then they'll start cracking down on those, and then nobody will be able to have any parties.
I can't see it happening in Berlin as well, Dustin. I think the police and everything are so on it. I think with
You think so? Like even house parties?
Not house parties, but if you're talking about doing an illegal party in like a I don't know, like a industrial place or somewhere where there's a lot of parties, I think those days are over anyway, and especially with what's going on, I think they'll be shut down. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's like also the lakes are closed around here, so it's just kind of everything fun in general this summer is canceled. So I was really curious as to like, because I mean, like, I don't know anything about the medical part, but like being in nightclubs every weekend, we know how stupid people can be. And like, I really think it won't take long before people just start doing stupid things because they're selfish or whatever,
I know. I was thinking about that yesterday because I somehow every day it becomes more and more clear that we're not going to have any clubs for quite a while now. And I was thinking, what are people going to do? It's like we're only in the first month right now. When do the people feel the urge to dance again and to gather and to dance again? And if they're not allowed to do it, what are the alternatives for them to do it? And I was thinking that maybe, when the restrictions are getting a little looser again, and maybe small groups of people are allowed to meet again, in different houses, that people might set up like little house parties, like 5-6 friends at places. And that's where maybe our DJ streams come into play, maybe people just start to meet, hey, DJ XYZ is playing Saturday night from his home for 3 hours at that time. Let's meet at that time, stream the set. And
isn't that what a lot of people have been doing in the States anyway, with like Be At TV and like, if you've got like a surround sound system at home, I mean, especially with the restrictions with laws in.
Has that already been happening? Like
I know people who in say California who don't go out, they just stay at home and have beers or whatever and dance around in their living room,
That has happened before the virus came even?
Yeah, I think it's happening already. I mean, in places where where there are restrictions and there aren't maybe the possibilities to party all night.
There was that virtual reality game that was around for a while. What was it called?
Second Life.
State or something?
Second Life. Second Life. So they'd have Second Life parties. I remember somebody in like 2006 invited me to DJ at his Second Life club, and I was like, "What? You want me to do what?
How does that work?"
By the way, I'm following my chat here on YouTube, Taucher im Omen. I've been reading this, so if you have any questions, just repeat the questions. We're getting back to them later. I wanted
to say to Dustin that, I mean, if in Berlin, it really doesn't really feel any different. There's loads of people out on the streets. And of course, May Day's coming up as well. And you know, I'm not sure how that's going to be. I'm not sure whether people are going to
Cancelled.
Well, yeah, but I think maybe still people are going to go on the streets. You know how it is here. People are like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to do whatever I want." So I don't know how they're going to contain it or police it. You know, so we have that coming, looming, should I say?
Yeah. Well, so real quick, I have this theory on that because you see people complaining on Facebook like, oh my God, I went out for food and there was all these people in the park or hanging out by the canal or something. And don't get me wrong, like that shouldn't be what's going on. But then the other part of me is like, listen, at what point in history has everybody followed the rules? Like there's always going to be rule breakers, right? And if it's nice out, they're going to be like, screw it. I'm going to go out for 20 minutes or an hour and get my air. I don't care. And like, whether you agree with that or not is a different story, but that's going to happen. And we're in a city of 3.5 million people. So it's like, even if 1% of those people, you know, decide to go to parks and shit, that's like what, 35,000? So, I mean, that's a lot of people, even though so it seems like nobody's paying attention to laws, but I think a lot of people really are following the, you know, stay at home order.
Are they giving any tickets or citations for being out or in groups or anything like that?
No, the Germans have been behaving quite well, I think, so far. But okay. I also have the feeling that the longer this is going on, which is very logical in a way, the longer it is going on, the relaxer everybody gets, you know. And like as 2 weeks ago, everybody was still like sealing himself up, going to the supermarket. Not right now so much. But if you look at spreading 2 weeks ago, there was definitely less virus around than now. So actually you should have to basically be even more careful the more time is passing until we're over that little thing.
The hump.
Curve, flatten that thing.
But is it going down yet in Germany?
I don't think that anybody knows anything anywhere.
No, unless they test everyone, unless they test the entire population of the world, they have no idea. They're kind of going by hospitalizations and deaths.
Yeah. And then they somehow come up with new ways of counting the people who are getting to hospitals. So even these numbers are not comparable. So we're really blind in that, I think.
Fun times.
It was funny. I saw somebody posting.
I need to get a beer.
I saw somebody posting on Facebook just the other day. They were like, "Oh man, I really had to get out of the house and I had to go to the beach." And I went there, and I was just appalled by how many people were just hanging out at the beach. And then I'm thinking, like, well, like, what the fuck are you doing there? You know, but at the same time, I think all of us tend to have this thing in our head where we believe that, well, I've been locked in the house so long, I need to get out. And since everybody is staying home, maybe I'll be the only person there. And then you realize that when you leave your house,
everybody's thinking the same thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
I was on a run yesterday, and I was so annoyed in the park because there were so many people until I realized I'm one of them.
Yeah.
You run with a face mask, Chris? No, I just stay away from people, and it was quite a mission yesterday. I actually finished. I actually left because it was nearly impossible to run slalom between all those people.
Wow.
So that's what I mean. It's just they're just thinking it's getting easier, you know. Oh yeah, we're over the worst part. We were sitting at home long enough now. It's going to be fine, but it's not. And I'm really worried that this actually turns this whole process into even longer process that wouldn't be necessary, you know. If we would have all just shut down this whole world in March, like everyone, we could have maybe had like more controlled going back into normal life in the summer already. But I think we're really fucking this up like globally, and that's why we need to stay home. And someone just put in, like, because of the idea of streaming and how we're going to do parties in the future, somebody was just writing here that maybe there's like 100 capacity max on clubs now. That's where and DJs are not going to fly. So you will be booked to a virtual party at a place for 100 people somewhere, and then you play a virtual streaming gig. That could be.
Is that going to be monetized, or is it all going to be free?
It's got to be monetized at some point.
Well, I mean, how long can we do this for free? I mean, at some point we need to speak about money here. We're all without any income right now, right?
Who's going to want to sit at home and pay for a streaming service? You know, it's like, why, if I can just watch this person DJ for free?
Yeah, but maybe those 100 people that gather in this place, every one of them has to pay then something, you know?
I don't think it's
I have no idea how this works.
I mean,
There'll definitely be a way that everything will get monetized somehow. I mean, I could even see like some rich guy who has a villa who wants Solomon to DJ for him and his buddies in the villa will book Solomon for it's like pay-per-view, you know.
So Solomon is sorted out then. That's fine for him.
He's fine.
I mean, the reality is, I think DJs are kind of in general somewhat on a decline. Like if you're talking about friends sitting at home for an after party or with drinks or something, how many times do people just like, they just go to YouTube and be like, type in this track or let's listen to that song, and like they don't need a DJ.
Or Boiler Room podcast or Boiler Rooms or anything.
Yeah.
Well, Boiler Room gets money for advertisement.
Well, maybe it's time through this streaming service that all of us take the time to actually start reporting the tracks that we play to.
SoundCloud included a donate button now for artists.
Like if you start monetizing on live streams, then you're gonna have to probably license the music that you're playing, right?
Yeah.
Legally.
Yeah. So it's like there's like so much. I don't know. It sounds like it's gonna be super difficult.
Unless there's advertisements running on your stream, and then the ad companies can pay the individual artists for what they do.
Oof.
Justin, somebody's asking for the Trainwreck podcast. Would be a good time to bring him back, would it?
Yeah, I mean, it comes up a lot.
Tell us, what was that exactly?
What?
What was it exactly, the Trainwreck podcast?
It was this.
It's pretty much a train wreck. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been like almost 2 years now since I took a break on it. And like, actually the reason that I took a break is my mom passed away at one point, and like I was sad, obviously. So, you know, like we didn't do video, but even on a microphone, that like you can really tell a lot by somebody by their voice. And I was just like, this ain't the time for me to be on a microphone. And then just you never started again. But I mean, it's really a pain in the ass. I would like to do it again, but I currently don't have any place to do it. Booking the guests is a nightmare because DJs are like children. They agree to something and then 5 minutes before they're canceling, and it's just like so much work. You know, chatting with people is awesome, but everything else involved it's a lot. If
I personally loved it.
You can run it for me. Let's talk.
It was a great podcast. It was one of the very few that I tuned in to watch or listen to every single episode.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, the fun one was the one that Mo and I did, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that one was great because we all were drinking, and we
got trashed.
We ended up getting super drunk, and it was like 3 hours long.
You know, there were some benders for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, you formed a band recently, not last year. Last year, 2 years ago?
No, I didn't form one. I started working for one, and then we actually got some other music together, but we thought, do we start a side project for that? And it's just going to come out under our names. I did stuff for Polisa, and they had an album that just came out, and then I've been working on mine for a while, which there'll be 1 or 2 tracks from them on there. And then we have a bunch of stuff that will come out as like a EP later on, but I don't really know the details on it or what I'm allowed to say.
And I was very close in seeing you guys play in Oslo on actually the last weekend that I was DJing before the virus came. Dustin was supposed to play in Oslo, and I was playing in Oslo. And then you got stuck at customs
Yeah, I got denied at the border, which was the first time ever. Have any of you guys been stuck in customs for a long time?
No.
Canada.
Yeah.
I got stuck for 7 hours
Jesus.
before being turned around. And so we were, on this little bus thing, and like I ate all the snacks and the food because we were just gonna go right through and we were gonna get lunch in Oslo and all this. And we ended up getting stuck there for 7 hours, and literally all we had was a bottle of wine and a bottle of whiskey. So we ended up just getting shit hammered sitting there for like 7 hours, and finally we had to find some small town in Sweden to just get like a hotel, cheapest place, so we could just crash for the night and not deal with the drama anymore. Sucks because we had to cancel, Through and we were gonna get lunch in Oslo and all this, and we ended up getting stuck there.
You have your.
Really, all we had was a bottle of wine and a bottle of whiskey.
Some of you has the YouTube
In
thing.
there for like 7 hours, and finally we had to find some small
No, is that you?
town in
Listening
Sweden.
to the YouTube
Hotel.
Can anybody know? Are you listening?
Yeah.
That's not me.
Was that you?
Was it what was me?
Somebody was listening to the stream.
Because your screen flashed up.
Oh, weird. I think I clicked something wrong. I think I got confused on what screen was which for a second.
What is it? Noon and you're drinking whiskey, right?
Anyway, sorry.
I gotta catch up, dude.
Well, better that than you accidentally clicking on a porn link.
Oh shit.
Like, whoops.
Justin, let's get back to like real talk here. You're still running Enemy Records, right? Because
Yeah.
You just had a release with which I'm playing up and down. Which was that? Hold on.
Nasha Regal or the blank one?
Blank form.
Yeah.
Blank forward.
Fragments of Vision.
Hmm?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's kind of the bummer. I decided to really put a lot of effort into the label. Well, I always put effort in, but like focus on it primarily. And it was starting to pick up, and I got a lot of cool stuff lined up, like most labels, I assume, right now. And now everything's on hold for the foreseeable future.
Then let's get into my favorite topic, which we had last week already. But I'm still wondering, what are we going to do with the club music now? And because this is what I was thinking yesterday too, is like, okay, if the streaming thing and people dancing at home, I mean, I need to clear that up. I was still producing club music even if there was no club out there, because I just enjoy doing this. And obviously right now there is no club out there, and I'm really enjoying making club music right now. And some people have releases lined up. Some of the most amazing club records were just released basically a week before. I'm looking at you, Matt, and Black on Black, a week before the shutdown, one of the biggest club tracks has been released. Have you noticed that somehow, Matt, that that the interest in club music has declined, but will it maybe come back in like 2-3 weeks or a month? Because people really want to dance more at home. And even if they weren't dancing in the first month at home, like at some point people want to move again, right?
Maybe a question I can throw back to everyone. Like, I mean, if you're doing a lot of streams, right, Chris? And so maybe you need new music, or you need to consume music that you want to play on your streams. But for most DJs, even like bedroom or guys who are playing in bars or whatever, I mean, are you really going to be buying stuff? I think everyone's saying that there's going to be a decline in digital sales, which is looming, and of course streaming is still spiking; it's still going up. But I think with the DJs, I think for sure people are probably going to stop, or it's going to slow down. Even though I would say, like, I need to ask Dustin, why is everything on hold? Because with records, it's business as usual. We're just continuing with our release schedule. We're not stopping. We're still manufacturing vinyl. We're still selling to Hardwax and Dex and everyone, and we're trying not to let the wheels fall off. So, but with the DJ thing, whether or not it's hard to tell. If it continues for as long as people think, then of course it's going to affect maybe how much music you'll actually buy, or what you'll buy, or your tastes.
Dustin, did you stop the label because you didn't want to release anything anymore, or was it because the distributors shut down or whatever?
You mean, well, I personally have put everything on hold.
Yeah, why did you do that?
Well, I mean, I try to focus on building up newer artists, and you know, some of these people trust me with their music, and some of them I've been sitting on for like close to a year, and you know, I don't want to take their hard-earned work, you know, that they put all this time into, and then just kind of let it fade into the ether now that nobody's able to really play stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never really felt like, I don't feel like my record label is like a business. I mean, we don't release stuff because we have to release stuff. It's just because we like good music and we want to support each other, you know? I mean, probably we'll have to put something out sooner rather than later, because I'm sitting on like 5 or 6 records right now. But that's the other thing. Like, I was pressing my wax in Italy, you know, getting that, and that was the best prices for me. And like to make that happen right now is impossible. So everything would have to go digital, which I'm fine with. I've been doing this for over 20 years, but some of these younger people really, this is everything to them to put out the first record or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
You got Matt, how are you doing on vinyl?
At the moment, it's okay. I mean, this is the thing; it's been fine. But I mean, I hear what Dustin's saying.
It's costly and it's a pain in the ass, you know.
Pain in the ass, and also there's a sustainability thing, you know, which is, I mean, you know, even the biggest records, like with the Lauren Garnier record we put out last year, we've now sold, I think, I don't know, about 2,500 copies, which is a lot. If you think about how many people are actually into dance music in the world, it's absolutely nothing. So I'm not sure. I mean, we thought about maybe doing crowdfunding kind of style releases, maybe release digital first and then see if people really want it, because otherwise it's a lot of waste and it's a lot of, like you said, it's a lot of effort. But I wanted to say with new artists as well, this is what I do worry about is, and Chris and I were discussing this yesterday, is that, you know, say if you're releasing an EP from an artist that's breaking through right now, maybe, you know, there's no real scope for them to actually perform or go out and DJ, or, you know, it's a really strange time, you know, and maybe, of course, you can keep plugging away, but maybe these releases are just going into this void where they'll never get heard properly, you know, so it's strange.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, how do
if you think about like club music, making club music now, you sometimes like people answer stuff online or on Instagram and they'll say like, well, even though I can't dance to it in a club, I'm still, you know, using it for my workouts, or I'm still listening to it like cooking dinner or just sitting at home chilling. So like, to me, it's like, okay, how many people are really doing that though? There's the handful that message you and they're just like, yeah, keep it coming. But how many are really actually doing that?
But
Probably more than you think.
I mean, we have all those weekly mixes. I have this weekly AM/FM show that the numbers didn't go down there. There's a lot of people still listening to the club mixes, and I'm sure they're not listening to the club mixes when they're going to the club. They're listening to, as you say, when they go jogging or when they work out or when they're cooking. So don't you think they're going to want to do this in the rest of the year too? And they want to do this with a fairly amount of new music and not only the oldest stuff, just newly mixed together. And don't they expect all the DJs to continuously release mixes in a way? You know, and if you continuously release mixes in a way as a DJ, no matter where you are as the DJ, you do want new music on your mixes, right? And it should be club music. So this is kind of like the thing that boggles me since like 2 weeks. Is like, what, like, is part of the scene now going to stop releasing any club music and just put it on hold until the clubs are open again? Because people think, oh, if I release my big club smasher now, it's not going to be played. Of course not, because it's no club is open, and then the rest is doesn't have any music, or some other part is releasing music, so we only have access to certain kinds of club music. I'm confused. I don't know how this is supposed to be going.
But like, I think music isn't just a functional tool. I mean, like when I was a teenager, I was buying music whether I had money or not, whether I had a gig or not. I'm just wired to seek new music out and discover. I like the feeling of discovering new music, discovering new artists that I follow. So that part of it will never change. I continue to listen to new promos, to buy music online and stuff. And then there's music as a function, like club music. Yeah, we can't play it in clubs, but we'll be able to play it next year. I'm still building playlists, keeping my music organized, because I know at some point, we're going to be back at it. And I'm going to rely on all this music that I accumulated over this period of time, which will be amazing music, which will, get heard in the right context. So for me, none of that has changed. And I'm also keeping the label going because I feel a responsibility to all the artists.
I think we all tend to make this mistake in thinking that people consume music the way we consume music ourselves individually. And I think sometimes it's a better gauge when you're playing these massive festivals and you're looking out at huge crowds, that you have to keep in consideration that probably only a quarter of those people that you are looking into actually buy EPs and individual records. The largest majority of them are consuming DJ mixes all the time. And they're not stopping now. They're still consuming them.
It's funny how everyone calls like a single an EP now. Like everyone I talk to, like EP used to mean extended play. So it's like 4+ tracks, but people call 2-song singles EPs now. EP, and it's funny to me.
Well, whatever they're
always having to correct people. Like
whatever they're releasing, I think DJ mixes are still there to be consumed, and they still need to be put out. So keeping tracks fresh and releasing them is still relevant.
But Ali, you said you're still downloading promos and all that stuff. Do you also shop for music, or do you just use promos?
I usually typically hard wax and clone.
Okay.
Those are my go-to ones. I don't have time, like with the amount of stuff that individual producers are sending me. And man, there's so much music that these producers are making right now and sending me.
I think now they're like,
you're going to see more music.
I think a lot of the producers are like, they're home now, so they can listen to my demo.
Yeah. And music is going to get better and more interesting during this period of time. So I don't think it's, the time to kind of sit back and not seek out all this great new music that we're going to have.
Yeah.
And that we have to take advantage of the fact that, like, the artists that Dustin's got on his label or me or you guys, they're going to start making really, really great music. And now's the time to get behind all that. If we can, if it's financially feasible. And that's one thing I had to look at. I had to look at, like, how much is it costing me to keep the label going? Because if I break even, I'm happy. If I'm losing money, then I gotta, make a serious decision about whether I want to just put it on hold right now. And it's a good time to look at all of the costs associated with running a label, how your label is structured. This is the time, this is the pause, like we all, wanted for all these years, to be able to, like, sit down and really look at every aspect of our business, all the different businesses we have, the teams we have, and to see if we can streamline things. And in streamlining things, you may come up with, like, new business models, new ideas. So I think it's a good time to do a lot of self-reflection, introspection, reports, and supporting new music that's bound to be made, amazing new music.
Which is a good segue to the question that I have from floor 4 for all of you. What are your plans to make up for the lost income from not touring? I mean, that's really a $1 million question here.
That's the $1 million question. Yeah.
But as Ali just said, it's a perfect time to look at your status right now, where you're at. I mean, when you're constantly touring, even if you have someone looking after your finances, you just don't look into the details anymore. And now you start to look into the details, like, what am I actually doing here? And you need to clean up, you need to streamline. And that's what's happening now I think on all of our levels.
If everyone here as well, Chris, everyone here in this group actually makes music, which I think is a difference as well from maybe someone who's just a DJ and doesn't actually have any other, revenue streams, as in.
Well, but making music is not really a revenue stream, is it?
Well, it depends, doesn't it? I mean, it depends what if you're signing records, if you're prolific and you're signing music to labels, hopefully there should be some money.
Yeah.
Whether it's publishing or there should be some kind of.
In the last year myself, I've kind of veered off and put a lot of focus on scoring music for small films and working a lot of publishing and licensing. But even that for me has come to a complete dead halt. Like I was working on a documentary, doing like 40 minutes of music for a documentary. And I got the email 2 weeks ago from the director of the film that was just like, production's on hold, just stop working because we don't know if we're going to continue or the budgets are going to keep going or how we're going to pay people. So everyone's on hold until we know next.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a difficult situation. We're in an incredibly hard situation over here of what we're going to do. And I've started to think of every avenue I could possibly could, even if it means individually teaching production classes via, Skype or something with people just to make enough money to feed the kids and keep the bills and keep the lights on,
Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally.
What's the question? Yeah.
Well, for me personally, it's like I've been fortunate enough to save up a nice chunk of money to live off of, but I don't want to eat through my savings just to pay my bills. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've also kind of been, I don't know, thinking about maybe to do some like mixing for artists or quote unquote mastering. I don't have a proper mastering studio, but at least something, to help out some younger artists and maybe get some extra cash. I don't know. I still have not figured it out fully yet.
I think none of us have. Dustin, what do you do?
What's that? What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Be a barista or something or a bartender. I'm not sure.
There's no bars, dude.
I don't need much to get by. Like DJing, like, yes, I've had gigs and I've been still pretty lucky compared to a lot of people, but like I would be lying if I said that it didn't slow down anyway. So it's not like my schedule went from 8 gigs or 10 gigs a month to a complete halt. So it really this adjustment isn't as jarring for me. And so I just like, I do other little odd production jobs and, kind of like stuff Mo was saying, and I'll find other ways. It's frightening, but like, it's interesting because you speak to some of these other musicians that are maybe not necessarily DJs. These people can have been in successful bands or won Grammys or something, and they're still like trying to find odd jobs in between tours and stuff. So it's like the DJ world has been super lucky and super privileged to like be in that position, because even in unpopular bands and stuff, they don't always have revenue to get by.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
Well, I have no clue. It's just like you. I don't know. I'm basically so far trying to save as much as I can, like getting the spending down, and doing what I love. Basically, I'm continuing to produce.
How's it going with the album then? Is that being put back? I mean, have you discussed
My album?
Yeah, with the label. Are you going to move this back to no?
No, actually, I want to get it out even sooner now, because my next album is again like the last one. The Burn Slow album is not really a club album; it's just more a listening album. So it's perfect for this time right now, and I want to get it out even sooner rather than later. Right. And when it comes to like, there's club remixes were already planned. There's the next batch of club remixes for the Burn Slow album, which on the last batch Ali was on. Hopefully one of the next batches that Matt is on there too. That's all still planned and it's going to be released, And but you're wondering like, okay, we release all these club tracks now. Yeah, great.
your next album is has more collaborations, right? Both with singers and stuff. So I guess, can you do that remotely, or how are you going to do that?
I met
if this is going to carry on,
and it's going to be released, you know. And oh, Mo is hitting the wrong button again.
I'm not.
Mo's got that expression on his face like he's hitting the wrong button.
Yeah, it's all work via internet now. But
Did I do something wrong again?
But I was nothing. It's all good.
You got to turn off that porn.
I was at a stage already where things were already pretty much done, so I'm in a good place when it comes to this album. But I'm sitting here basically doing club remixes like the whole
So
time.
you guys are still making music. I mean, if vinyl wasn't like a hurdle, you'd still be making and releasing music this year, right? Everyone.
Yeah, I think that's what I've been trying to do. I think I've been using the excuse of the fact that I haven't released as much music as I should have in the last few years, with being a lack of time. And then now I have nothing but time. So I have no more excuses to rely on. So I've been trying my hardest to just build up an arsenal of tracks to possibly release when things start moving again, you know?
Do you see that a little bit as a reset button then too? And Dustin, that question goes to you too, actually to everyone. Like after this, if we're lining up a lot of good stuff now, that things completely come out in a new way, you know?
What are you wondering now?
About, let's say, DJ producing career wise, you know? I mean, you know, probably the DJ scene, I'm not sure where it went, but that's a whole nother question for all of us, basically. Like, where did you think the whole DJing went to before the virus came? But now this is happening, you know, if you just like what Ali said, if you're preparing really well now, if you keep your playlists sorted, organized, if you keep chasing the latest music, if you're really ready to go when this is going again, and this is how I feel as well. I want to be like totally ready. I don't want to needing to get back into things, you know, once it's starting up again. I want to be right away ready. This is why I'm doing the streams as well. It just keeps me going.
Same with me, yeah.
Too. So you have a reason also to chase music and stuff. That's why I'm asking. Is like maybe there could be a sort of like a leveling going on during this break, and maybe some people who maybe have lost a little bit of motivation because of the weird DJ scene or with the weird business and the politics that we had. Maybe this whole thing gives it a break and gives you a little bit new motivation to continue to do more club music again or something like this. That's kind of like what I tried to say.
Well, I kind of was something similar I was hoping to go into. So I think like most people, when this crisis first happened, you go through all the different stages of grief. And like, I was sitting there like, I can't possibly imagine making techno tracks if there's no place to play them, and all those kind of thoughts that you think through on the couch while you're processing all of it. And then eventually, after a couple weeks, even though I was not feeling creative in the mood at all, I just started pushing through some studio projects just to finish up songs and keep my mind busy. And then I realized like I was really having fun and enjoying it again, and I didn't really give a shit if there was gonna be a dance floor. And then I realized like, oh yeah, this is what I do anyway. I enjoy this. Like, I don't need it to come out. That'd be great, but I'm gonna do it whether it gets released or not.
Yeah, I think I've said this before, and there's probably not much of a reason to reiterate it, but I mean, I think I'd be writing music if I had a quote unquote successful career or not. I mean, I've been doing it my whole life since I was 14, and I think I'll probably doing it for the rest of my life if nobody's ever listening. And in the past, I've let the business side of it bog down my creativity, and I've spoke about it before. And I think currently right now, I'm not trying to make big plans of what I'm going to do when things come back, or how I'm going to market my tracks, or when's a good time to sell it and when's not a good time to sell it. I want to take the time that I have to just sit in the studio and do what I love and to just write music.
Yeah. agree.
Matt, would you, if Black on Black wasn't released yet, would you still release it now, or would you wait for it till this is over?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we made a video and we did so much work leading up to it. So it's difficult to say. I mean, you know, we had so much planned. We've also got another single that's kind of ready, and we've just got clearance from Universal to use the sample, and so I don't know. We're trying to work it out. We're trying to work out what we're actually going to do. Of course, it's very much a live performance-based project with Patrick. So, and that's what made it so special, was him performing. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe we would have put it back, but again, you know, so many people were waiting for the song to come out. You know, we gave it to you last year, and we gave it to a few people. Actually, you were the first person. So, yeah, we had to. In fact, we just had to put it out. You know, it was regardless of what's happened. So, yeah. But I'm the same with Mo. I mean, I've been making a lot of music. I've been doing a lot of kind of very slow record style, 99 BPM sort of sketches, just music for myself, just very self-indulgent. I don't really care if it ever comes out. It's just little noodly sketches, just, you know, which make me happy, you know. So
Yeah, totally. I guess that's the purest form of expression, isn't it? I mean, just let things flow out of you naturally, instead of having some sort of like grand schemed plan of what it's going to do
yeah,
for your overall career.
I mean, I think all of us, those are the foundations of why we got into this game to begin with. The need to express ourselves musically, and also in the DJ booth. That doesn't go away because of some virus, you know.
And I think now too is like, even though there's no dance floors and you still want to create club music, like there's not that pressure to make a club track that's going to be a big hit. Now it's just like, you can just write tracks no matter what, you know, like don't have to worry about that. Even though
we don't have to make business techno.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that says business techno.
Exactly.
Which is a really funny expression.
It's a great expression.
What exactly is business techno?
Jure mi clavo. Yeah.
It's I guess like I don't want to name drop, but
I
mean,
vocals.
all about a drop.
You don't need a name drop. I think you can generally say, I think it's this whole idea that you know, the capitalism on our industry with music, and putting, you know, huge festivals and marketability, and the fact that, you know, image is more important than musical content, and all that stuff just plays into financial gain and constant financial gain in the industry. Am I wrong?
Like, is business techno a sound, or is it an image thing?
Well, I think that there's a certain sound that's attached to
I think we all know what it is, but we're dancing around the obvious.
Yeah, there's a certain sound to it, for sure. I'll say it's the safe techno. That's all I want to say. It's the safe techno, the shit that's gonna be, you know, top 10 Beatport charts all the time. I don't know.
Well, I think another way to put it is, we've all know this. Everybody in here knows this, that the largest majority of people in the world like easily digestible music, things that are not challenging, something that you can just put on and enjoy and have fun, and that tends to cater to the masses. That happens in pop music, radio music, hip hop, rap. Every genre has a portion of the music that pushes the boundaries and pushes the lines and innovates and goes into new places. And then there's the easily digestible, acceptable stuff that everybody can enjoy and have fun. And I think that people tend to associate that easily digestible music with business techno, because it tends to be the genre that makes the most money because it applies to the masses.
Yes.
But could anyone here actually see it? To me, I never thought, I didn't see it coming, this thing. I don't know. It was so weird because in the 90s, like techno was so unfashionable. I remember playing at, you know, Ministry of Sound for open all hours. Carl Craig would play to like 30 people, and there'd be Lost with Jeff Mills, which would just be guys, you know, and it was different, completely different scene to what it's evolved into, you know. So I don't know, it's a strange phenomenon. This has become like the commercial scene within dance music now, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
techno certainly skyrocketed to the top. I mean, even at the biggest EDM festivals in the States, now we have techno stages at every single one of them. And to be frankly honest with you, I would have never seen that coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, like, all of us here can say we've been around forever, so we've seen this slow incline for techno. And I know definitely Mo and David, Ollie, maybe you too, but also you were already doing pretty well with Deep Dish. But like, let's say like late 90s and stuff, the idea that like techno could remotely be popular in the United States was completely insane. It was so hard to find the right stuff. Like it was rare when like an Adam Beyer would come to the States or something. Now Absolutely. These people, I saw Marco Crollo's name on a billboard in Las Vegas or on the internet recently, and I'm like, if you would have asked me that in '99, that would have blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like it was untrue.
Especially during that whole minimal period where techno got really like went into this niche kind of thing and was super underground, and promoters would be saying, oh, I can't believe so and so played just like a kick drum and a bass line for 2 hours. You know,
Totally.
Yeah.
It's definitely evolved. And
I think now it's like, I think because we're all older, when we say the minimal thing, there's probably a lot of younger people out there that have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, they didn't even look through that, John.
Because that's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Ali,
I was just like, what's the minimal thing?
Ali, do you mind to explain a little? Give us a history lesson.
explain what?
The minimal boom of 2004, 2003.
I mean, I wasn't responsible for it. I just kind of,
I'm
not
saying that, but
I think minimalism in music, I mean, I've really enjoyed that period. But it started to get a bit tedious. And this was right around, I was listening to a lot of it when I was like breaking away from Deep Dish. And it was influencing me for sure, but I had other ideas for what I wanted to do within the techno genre. And I was, you know, breaking away more and more from the sound of Deep Dish, and Sharam and I, our relationship was just deteriorating pretty rapidly. And I was searching for something new. And I think I came along at that time when maybe techno needed something new. But I was really influenced by everything that was happening in the minimalism scene. And I just kind of married it with my ideas, I guess. And it turned into another thing. And then, you know, that was kind of when minimalism was also like becoming a dirty word or on its way out. But I still get kids today saying, oh, you should play more minimal tracks or make more minimal music. I don't even know what that means anymore. Like
everything seems to be coming in waves, coming and going. Because I mean, we've seen these waves so many times. You know, like in the early 2000s, we saw the hard techno thing blow up with the Shrans and the Prime distribution days, and all that stuff. And then that dipped down, and minimal came up, and then minimal disappeared, and techno came back. And I think techno it's getting to the point now again where everyone's playing 142, 143 BPMs again. And maybe we'll see that whole thing dip out and minimal's back, you know.
I think minimal also had a lot to do with swing. If you listen to a lot of those old minimal records,
Absolutely.
They swung like those early New York house records, you know, and the Chicago kind of jacking records. There was just this unbelievable funkiness to it. And, you know, the tempo got slower. So the people who were into the houseier end of the spectrum, like, could really get into it, and it was groovy. And now techno is super hard and fast and really linear. Again, which is cool. I love,
that's what I find so crazy is that if you think back to like 2000, maybe 11, when this whole Wolf and Lamb sound, this New York sort of K-house thing was so popular, and then now you've got artists like BTSS or these, a lot of people, you know, these lot of DJs playing Gabba, which is completely the opposite end of the spectrum. But I can imagine it's the same kind of people that would have liked that then, that like that and that like this now. It's a strange thing, you know. It's all governed by tempo, you know.
Because you think about, like, before the minimal boom thing kind of happened, techno was getting like the Shran stuff, like 150 BPM, just loopy banging, just like, okay, when it first was like kicking off, everyone's like, hell yeah, this is like the shit. And then all of a sudden it started getting super hard, and then people were like, okay, it's starting to get a bit too crazy, and then just like kind of just boom, tapered off. So then you have all these techno DJs that were just like, what the fuck, what happened? And then this 125 BPM craze went, and they left all these techno DJs high and dry. So they kind of had to shift over to this minimal stuff. I feel like that might happen again.
I hope so.
That's a good question. Well, so you mentioned like when a lot of the techno guys had to switch to minimal, which, you know, everybody did that was sitting here had to go like minimal at one point, whether they were really into it or not. But you know, now there's the argument from people that are like, oh, you should make songs because nobody can do the dance floor thing right now, so make song-based stuff. It's like we saw before when people had to switch genres and go from like playing harder peak time stuff to minimal. Some people it worked out really well, but a lot of people you could tell it was forced. And do you kind of see that being the same thing with techno guys trying to make songs now?
I never made
I'm trying.
Well, no, I don't think there's anything against it. I'm saying, like, do you think it could be a backfire of sorts?
No, I totally understand you. In my personal case, I see it even the other way around. I grew up in the 80s with basically 70s and 80s with songs with totally different kind of music, also pop music. So it's always very song based, and getting into techno basically was a whole new thing. So I am actually really, I have this urge in me to do something song based, even though I'm not a musician really. But has there been, I mean, has there been a little bit an issue of people doing other things? Or I always believe the market solves itself, you know? If somebody is trying to do music that he's actually not into, only because it's business-wise feasible, it will show sooner or later. And it will either pay off and this person becomes super, super, super commercial and super crazy, or you just forget about that person, because there's other people who do this kind of music with a whole different piece of passion.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. I mean, the other part of it is it's like, you know, take a classic like Jeff Mills' The Bells. If you look at it, that's technically a song. It's got like kind of a verse chorus structure and everything. And I think a lot of the hits that you do hear tend to have, not only are they memorable, but they sort of have a loose song structure compared to just a techno loop, which we all love drum tracks and stuff. We can listen to that all day. But it's interesting. Like I love songs and I would like to see more people try it. I just wonder if that could end up being a bad situation.
Well, I think this applies to any genre of music or anything, but as soon as something gets really popular and it starts becoming homogenized and you start getting all these copycats that are just like trying to recreate what other people do, and it just becomes overwhelming and there's so much of it, it's just a matter of time before it starts to collapse.
But Matt, aren't you doing songs with Surfed?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going in that direction. Yeah, I mean, Patrick's singing, so, and it was started off as a kind of just, yeah, no, they're all songs. Yeah, I mean, but it's very much based upon that kind of more kind of, I guess, our reference points are like Salida, Be Yourself, this kind of New York sort of, I guess, proto, I would hate to say the word, but maybe tech house, but mood to swing, you know, that kind of thing. So it's drum tracks with vocals over the top. You know, that's our reference point, and making it more into like a party, and that's, yeah. So they have evolved, and I do see, I think they're the performance side. Unfortunately, there is no performance right now, but I think the performance side within our world is coming back, and I'm all for it. I mean, as much as a lot of the electro clash, sort of electro pop stuff was bad, a lot of it was great, and some of it was great to see people get on stage and perform, and I'm all for that, you know, because, you know, a lot of DJing is super boring, as I guess people are seeing right now with all the streams. So yeah, more songs.
It's weird how, like, you mentioned Be Yourself, and that's such an amazing classic, and then you think about like maybe just really minimalist instrumental music from that period of time. I can't remember what year. Remember that Shatrax song, which was just the bass song, boom, 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 boom. Teneglia used to play the hell out of that, huh?
Yeah. Misspent Years.
Yeah, Misspent Years. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, I mean, I look at that through the same lens as I do like a Be Yourself that has a lot of vocals and song structure.
I think a lot of those tracks like that Tenaglia would play, or you'd hear that period, you know, a lot of DJs, even now in Panorama, I can play a lot of great instrumentals and then add acapellas or at least a part, and it adds that drama, you know. And of course, I think that period, especially in New York, I mean, the first time I heard Tenaglia was actually, I think it was at home at this festival. I think it was like 1998, so it was late in the day probably for you guys. But yeah, he was very much about that, you know, playing long instrumentals. He's the first DJ I heard play isolate, I think, and you know, it was definitely that vibe, you know.
Next week we should play each other music. Do like a YouTube tag team.
That's why I was asking how it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how I can.
I think it'd be cool to play like these, you know, maybe have some of these reference points that we can play for everyone, you know, as we're talking about it. But I'm sure everyone can look it up afterwards as well.
We definitely.
Shatrax, what a track, God.
He just had a new EP come out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he disappeared for years, but he's back, and like everything he's done is pretty great. So
that label's been around forever, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think like 95, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard the new talking about like songs and, you know, making music now and all this stuff? Have you guys heard the new Nicholas Jar album?
No, I haven't.
It's incredible. It's insane. Like how good it is.
Are you talking about his under his own name or the Against All Logic?
Under his own name.
Okay.
It's got like
I really like that one. The Logic.
I can't
one,
stop listening to it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Logic one was cool, but like the other one you can listen to it on repeat a bit more.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it.
I really like the Fortet album.
Is it new?
Yeah.
I know he had the Baby song, but which is
just
awesome.
Just out now, like literally, I don't know, weeks ago.
I just listened to, you know, Tiga's got a podcast, a great podcast, and he interviewed Boys Noise and Kieran Fortet. And the one with Fortet is really, really good. What's really interesting to hear about his background. And Tiga's such a great, you know, speaker. He's able to articulate everything and he asks the right questions, and it's just a really entertaining thing to listen to.
He did a Boiler Room set just recently too, from the place where he actually produced the album, and it's basically just a white little table with a laptop, and he has a modular system next to it, and that's it. And You know, no big fat ass studio, no nothing, and then something like this comes out. I always find that fascinating.
Yeah.
I remember he posted a photo of that. He's like, "This is where I recorded this album."
Exactly.
It was just like nothing, hardly any gear.
That's what I'm trying to achieve here.
More.
And then you got Mo with like the Starship Enterprise behind him.
Behold, the museum of shit that never gets used.
That's a quarter of his studio, by the way.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But he's got a lot of cool shit.
Matt's studio is basically in a corner in his house as well. And
Yeah.
there was a question, and I actually joined the question because this Talking to Be Mad track from Served,
Okay.
you know that I've used that kick drum and layered it so much with other stuff, like in the last year, really. Like if ever people wondered, oh, that's a heavy kick drum under this track, it was most likely your kick drum. Like, are you doing this in this attic there with these two little Atom speakers or whatever?
You've been here, Chris, haven't you? You were surprised at the Dyne Audio, how good they are.
Yes, I am. Where did Ali go? Did he just pass out?
I think actually, Chris, with that track, I think they actually sampled that kick and then layered it with another kick. So, which I've actually been getting back into, like rather than just using an 808 and a 909 squashed together.
Hold on, when you say sampled the kick, has any one of us ever sampled a kick and used that exact kick in a track then? Or, you know, I usually think like, oh, you need that. There's no way this kick that you sampled will fit your track. It's maybe a goalpost, but you need to form it into something that fits your track.
I think you always have to like
sample that, and then you added something.
Yeah. I mean, it's always just about making it fit into what I wouldn't just write a track around just a kick drum. I maybe change the kick depending on the tone of the track. So everything has to be sort of adapted. But I mean, I've always been into sampling. I mean, I'm doing less and less. So I'm using more and more real drum sounds, or I think drum machine sounds. But depends.
What's happening?
Beer.
Depends, you know.
I've done the same. I've sampled kick drums and then just like layer stuff on it just to get I use the meat of the kick that I sampled. So and I don't think there's any shame in that.
Now, how many kicks can you layer?
Look, I think three.
What's your record?
3 maximum, but I'd say 2 is good.
When I'm sitting in the studio with David's really, really good at layering multiple kick drums. And it's funny because since I've been working with Luis on like albums in the past year, Luis, out of all things in the world, he is the most anal about layering multiple kick drums. He only allows one kick drum, no layering on top of it at all times. It really annoys me. But I will say the only kick drums I've ever sampled are Dustin Zahn's.
But
Dustin's got.
Like if a track is a stomper like this Serve stuff, then yeah, it's gonna focus. It's gonna be on a kick. But if you're trying to make some cool like groovy stuff or tribally or whatever, you shouldn't put the emphasis on that kick. Of course, it should sound dope, but I mean, it should become more about the bass line and the rhythm than the kick. Because just the right pitch of a kick should do the trick.
Yeah.
Or do you disagree?
No, it's the right pitch of the kick, but it's also very much about the start point of the sample.
But what, Chris? What's the drum? What are you using now? What's this? The soft in?
I basically unpacked my old 909 a couple of weeks ago because I had it in a box here, and I just been working with it a lot in the last week, and I fell so in love with the sounds again, which are they're just I think I have the best clap on my 909 ever. And it's just so nicer to work with it. But yet again, I would not use the 909 kick drum really. I would maybe use it as kind of something that shows you the way. And then I have this plugin called Punchbox from the D16 group people. That's the one. And that is built upon a very old little kick drum plugin that a German dude did one time. Buzzism, it was ism, yeah, ism, ISM. And which you just get generated a sinus wave basically, and then you had the possibility to put attack and decay in it, and you had some sort of distortion buttons. And those guys took basically this idea, and they also have the 909 and 808 as VSTs. They're called Drummerzone and Nepheton.
Mhm.
And most of people know this because these are the two best emulations of a 909 and a 808, I believe. And they basically put all this into like one plugin. And so you can start off using a sinus wave as a kick. You can start off using a sample as a kick. You can put your own samples in, or a 909 or an 808. And then you can go from there and you add little clicks, you can add a little distortion, you can add a little EQ and bit crusher and everything. And you have this whole chain, and it just, you can work on it endlessly. It's quite a nice thing.
You need a little like a buy now sort of thing in your screen.
Swipe up to buy what's it called? Punchbox now.
Punchbox, it's the third week I'm mentioning it. Finally, he's writing it down. So
Next week you'll be wearing
I
a
don't know now. How are you making your cakes now these days? Huh?
Oh,
Anyone?
I kind of just used the 909 kick, or actually most of my tracks lately have been an 808 kick, but I processed the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Out of one kick?
Pretty much. I mean, sometimes I'll high pass another one just to get that little knock in there. But I've been really, because the thing is I don't know. No offense, like some people are making thunderous kicks here, but I feel like so many tracks right now got like the biggest kick drum ever, which is cool. But I just decided like I want to try and make tracks where the kick obviously is still powerful, but it's not the emphasis. So 808 kick is great for that because it's not too invasive and it's really bass heavy.
I use a reactor ensemble that we built, and the last album we did 100% of the drums all on that one reactor ensemble, and it's kind of just been a tool that we share amongst close friends, and that's pretty much what I'm using for all my kick drums. We call it the drum face.
What were we talking about? I missed it.
Kick drums, you're the kick drum guy.
Talking about kick drums, guys.
I heard Punchbox a little while ago. I've actually started using that a lot. Yeah, that's really good because you can layer kick drums like just all in one box basically, and process them. So it's a really good tool.
Yeah.
But 909 is still like my go-to. I love the 909 kick drum.
Yeah, we did a little interview with Native Instruments where we actually showed the reactor ensemble that we use to make all of our drums on. And we've considered releasing it to the public if anyone's interested, just to put it out there. It's not like a super top secret thing or anything.
The one Luis was like taking 3 years to make.
Yeah, pretty much. He actually worked on it so long he ended up breaking it.
Yeah.
So now we have to use an older version of it just to get it to work.
I just remember going to Luis's studio, and he'd just be sitting there for hours moving things around and like repatching stuff. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, well, this kick drum, I got like 400 kick drums that you can go through. I was like, who the hell is gonna go through 400?
Reconnect is just mentioning that Punchbox is 40% off right now on Plugin Boutique.
There you go.
Oh,
wow.
there you go.
Money now.
And it's an already cheap plugin. I think it was like $70.
Yeah.
So 40% off that, that's a good deal.
I mean,
I highly recommend that one for sure.
Let's go buy that now.
when we get back to the clubs, we need to have the best possible kick drums, right? We agree on that.
100%.
Hey, where else, like, kick drums are pretty cool, but like obviously everybody at the beginning of the year kind of has this idea of what they want to do with their life or their sound or whatever. And you guys have an idea in mind for 2020? Like, I want to focus on this vibe again, or work on this style more, or kind of stay the course?
I'm kind of getting back into the whole, I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of industrial and electronic body music, and all that stuff over the last 5 years or so has been making a comeback, with artists like Ancient Methods and a bunch of others. And I'm feeling my new wave roots come creeping back. I feel like making EBM, for lack of a better word. I don't know. I've been, experimenting a little bit.
Face Fatal just had a really nice interview that he did with, was it Fact Magazine, where he went through his process of making tracks, and he was kind of going through the process of making EBM inspired music. So it's a cool video to watch.
Because there's like electro and EBM have come together in new ways as well, which is really interesting.
Are you going to do your own vocals then?
I want to definitely do more vocals. Yeah. I don't know what kind they'll be. They'll be more abstract rather than verse, chorus, verse, but yeah, why not? I mean, it's easy to do an instrumental track, but it takes a lot more, I guess, I don't know, not skill, but like a lot more care to like do something with vocals. So be fun. We need the hooks and the tracks. So
what are you drinking, Ali?
I'm drinking from my friends at Stillwater Artisanal, which is a
you had that stuff last
brewery, I think
weeks ago, right?
In Boston. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a ton, like I have a lot of their beer in my fridge, and
What kind of beer is
yeah,
it?
I'm trying to figure that out right now. It's a sparkling rosé sour ale,
Wow.
brewed with red wine grapes.
Okay, wow.
Interesting. Yeah, they always have really interesting stuff. So thanks, Brian. Like I have a lot of them.
Whoa! How come we have two Dustins?
I have no idea. We have two of you now.
Of me.
I think his last one froze.
Yeah, my last one was frozen, for sure.
How about now?
No, it just says we can't see you.
Oh yeah, hang on. How about now?
Nope.
How about, no, I'm not. It won't let me start the video.
Wait, I'll get you back.
Close it and
You look
restart.
like a ventriloquist because you're talking.
Yeah, we on the
There you
stream.
go.
On the stream, he's frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen, but we could hear your voice. So it
I'm
sounded like
like
you're throwing
Max
your voice.
Headroom.
Yeah.
I guess nobody that's like, I don't know, most people
Well,
won't get
Max
that.
Headroom
girl,
is like I was even really young when Max Headroom came out.
Yeah, I guess we just dated ourselves.
We're talking about Minimal, Max Headroom. Yeah, we're showing our age.
Well, here's a question. What's after DJing? Is there a retirement plan, a second career, something that you guys are interested in getting into other than just playing records and making music all the time?
That's too deep. That could take up like a whole 2 hours.
I'm genuinely curious about it, though.
Are we supposed to be winding down, Chris?
Yes, I'm sure we're a little off today. We started a little later, and yeah, that's a big question. But isn't that what we're finding out right now? It's like, before this whole thing started, I kind of thought like, great, that's at least going to go like this for another 10 years. It's fun, it's traveling, I love this. Yeah, at least another 10 years you'll do this, and it's going to be fun. And then what are you going to do then? But I have no clue. So now we're suddenly here, and you're already thinking, what am I going to do now? Actually, it's like, yeah, there's no gigs. Like there's so much room of new things to do maybe. So I have no idea.
I don't know how to do anything else.
No, this
I'll just say it for the whole group.
I mean, I've been doing it for
that
half my
backup plan
life.
your parents told you to get ready for, huh?
Yeah.
There was no backup plan. There was
Yeah,
no
you
plan
did.
B. And that's how you become successful, kids. No
That's
plan B.
I agree with that.
Plan
Isn't
A
it-
only.
like
Because then I
Justin
think
said that
if
in the
there's
beginning, like it feels like you're 18 again, or sitting.
Yeah.
And in a way, you're sitting here and you just like you listen to records, you know. And when is that the last time you've done that? When you were a teenager, really, you know, or you were waiting for like that you get your first gig to play somewhere, and you're just sitting at home all the time listening to music, and it kind of feels the same way, but it feels good. I really.
It's the exact same. Yeah, it's the exact same feeling. It's funny. I was, in cleaning up and reorganizing things around the house and my studio. I came across my old flying record boxes, and I was, pulled them down from the shelf, and I was secretly hoping that there were records in them. And then, obviously there wasn't anything in there. It was empty. But imagine if I'd kept the same records that I was playing at the time that I retired those record boxes. And then I opened the boxes, and there they are. And it would have been like a time capsule kind of situation. That would have been so cool.
That would have been super cool.
Yeah,
do you have any bags? Does anybody else have any bags like that? I don't. I know I don't.
I have my very first Final Scratch setup still.
Final Scratch.
I never used that.
I have that little Sony computer that I had with this little round
the little dish,
that little thing. And when I switched that computer, I have this bag somewhere. I put the computer and the sound card and everything. I could unpack it, hook it up, and it will work. The records are in there, everything. And it has basically, the hard disk is full of the music that I had at that time. I mean, I still have that music because I always continue to carry on my music. So the library just gets bigger, but this is probably from 2003 or something, that computer.
Just
Chris, did you go
gives me
from
chill?
What?
Chris, did you go from vinyl into Final Scratch, or were you playing CDs and then you jumped to?
I still don't know how CDJ works, to be honest.
Oh, so you never did the whole CD thing?
I never did the CD thing. I went from vinyl to Final Scratch and then to Tractor. But I really, I mean, now
I hated the whole CD era. Oh my God.
I don't know. I sometimes have to ask where the eject button on that CDJ is. So I don't really know.
I used to make
Chris, actually. I went straight from vinyl into Final Scratch, but the word Final Scratch gives me the fucking creeps because in 2002 when it first came out, Chris, I don't remember, but I was one of the early adopters of it, and I got a job working at Native Instruments, and I was the only tech support agent for North America doing tech support for Tractor Final Scratch. And we used to have more calls than we could even handle, and our phone lines and our queues would be backed up. I'd have phone calls that I'd have to call people back for weeks. And that whole entire era was probably one of the hardest jobs I think I've ever done. Anytime someone says Final Scratch, I'm just like, ugh.
I remember borrowing your Final Scratch at one point to try it at home when I was like, man, fuck this vinyl thing. I want to move over to something new. And it was like such a pain in the ass.
It was a difficult thing.
But it was.
Did you guys ever use Serato? Did anybody use Serato?
No. I went straight from vinyl to Tractor. That's what I never did the CD thing.
Wow.
But I'm back on CDJs now, but I never played on CDs at all. Like never.
Oh, I had to carry CD books around. I used to be so nerdy. I would make like labels. I would print labels to put on my
Such a waste.
Spent so much money on like
Yeah.
labels and CDRs.
I
Still
recently
have all
played
the
it.
CDs.
I played in what was it? I played at Berghain in February, and I played before DJ Rush, and DJ Rush still had his CD book, and he was playing still playing CDs. That was like it felt so weird to see that. It's like that's considered old school now.
I think
Even
Derek
like-
May still does it, no?
Who?
Derek still does it. He still plays.
Really?
Derek May.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek May. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Derek does.
It's like
There's
he-
somebody
he
else
had-
that still
On the
plays.
Where-
CD, or if you put in the USB, is there a difference in sound
No.
or in handling?
I guess if you're playing WAV files, there's probably a difference, but not. I don't think there's a difference from CDs to WAV files. It's the same thing.
It doesn't preload the wave. But you want to hear a funny story about Matt, actually. I booked Matt in Minneapolis around 2007 or 8 is when we first met.
Yeah.
And he had the badass Rimowa record case or whatever. But he forgot the key in the hotel room, which was too far away. So all he had was a CD booklet, which meant he basically had to play most of his own tracks, which is all I wanted to hear anyway. So I got what I wanted.
Wow. I remember actually playing. I think it was 2007. Played the Panorama Bar when I had the Rimowa. It was the compact, the record box.
Yeah.
I left there with no sleep. Went straight to Montreal to play at Mutech, and my records didn't arrive. And I think I didn't have. I literally had a brand new laptop. Had nothing, and I was on tour as well with Joel. That was the start of the Quiet Village tour we were doing of North America. But I remember Mutech. I remember John Berry was burning me CDs as I was playing in this club in Montreal. But yeah, it was a disaster.
Kyle Geiger says hi, and
Oh, the
and
homie.
he's complaining about all these fake DJs who can't play with CDs.
It is funny that we still call them CDJs and nobody uses CDs in them.
Yeah.
The next ones that come out, the 3000s, they won't have a CD player in them. They're like the X1000s. So I don't know.
Oh,
But Mo, do the CDJs still have a CD slot?
Yeah.
The next generation won't.
Not anymore.
No,
yeah.
but they still call them CDJ.
Damn it!
Oh,
What am I gonna do
they're
now?
still going to be called CDJs. Why don't they call them HDJs?
Why don't you call Roland and give them your suggestion?
They're not Roland. That's
Oh, not Roland, sorry, Pioneer.
Hey,
You know
Chris,
what?
did you manufacture CDs of your album? Like, was it released on CD?
Yeah, it was because I got one of them.
Whose album? What?
Your
Yours.
album was
Mine.
it? Was
Yeah,
yeah, it was released on CD. Right?
I have that somewhere.
Was it on
It's
vinyl
still
too?
big in Japan, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
I
The
think Japan is
Japanese are-
probably they're still the country that buys the most CDs out of the whole world.
Yeah.
I don't.
I kind of
Did you
want to
also-
go back and buy some old CDs just because if you want to buy all the stuff on
On Discogs.
iTunes, you're going to spend more anyway.
You can get them on Discogs, dude, for like $5.
Exactly.
I mean, who knows how good condition it is, but
Store just left in a comment.
I got so many CDs.
Sid, is that Yoakum?
That'd be awesome if it would.
Is it really him?
Damn.
Cheers
I
from
know.
Rotterdam. What's up with Yoakum, man? Damn, that dude's like, he has like no social media presence.
More respect to him for it.
Yeah.
I would kill for a classic Speedy J record right now.
Dude.
We should try to get. Do you think he'd be down to be on the show?
That should be Chris's guest.
Yeah, totally, man.
Dude, that would be awesome.
I would have to just tune out and just join the chat room and watch
Yeah.
like everybody else. Chris is quiet. Maybe he's already got it in plan.
I was
we gave it away, right, Chris?
I was just thinking where this Speedy J record is, which I just had early on in my hand. It was here somewhere.
Joachim's album, A Shocking Hobby, was like probably one of the most influential albums on me in music, period.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Dude, that album just blew my fucking mind.
Based on track either number 5 or 8, I forget the name. It's fucking insane though. Even I had this like 1984 Pontiac Parisian for my first car, and even on that fucking boat, like it just screamed. It was wild.
Mo, weren't you supposed to do a store thing?
Yeah, well, I was supposed to be playing in Rotterdam. That was
that during all the shit?
That was my first gig that got canceled. And I was supposed to play at Perron in Rotterdam, and originally the plan was to go to visit Joachim at the store laboratory and hang out there for a bit, but everything got pushed back.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was before everything happened or during.
No, I was right during the middle of it all.
Oh, damn. Well, I'm sure it's going to be
The gig I played
waiting
before
for you.
shit hit the fan was this Crossed Festival thing in San Diego.
Did you? Oh, you played there. That's right. You played who did you play before?
I closed. I played right after Kevin Saunderson, and
Oh.
it was really interesting.
Were you playing on the Sunday or the Saturday then?
It was Saturday night.
Okay, because I played Saturday afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I don't know. It was really an interesting venue. It was at an old newscaster stage. So like, where they switch the angles to do the weather or the news or whatever. They had the DJ booth set up there, and the crowd would be like where all the cameras usually are in the newscast studio. It's an interesting venue.
Oh. Wait, was it at the actual festival or was it an after party?
No, I played an after party. I didn't actually play at the festival.
Okay.
That was probably, to get back into the sad mood here, that was probably the last big festival we had in America.
And there was actually Corona cases at the festival.
Yeah.
There was an outbreak.
Yeah. So there was people that were attending the festival that had it, and then who knows from there how many people got it. Because I had some friends from here in LA that were there, and then they got the news and they were self-quarantining.
But that's what I mean. It literally, and that's where they had that boat as well. I think that was one of the cruise ships was literally parked right next to the Cross Festival as well.
Yeah.
Where there was cases of coronavirus. So.
But I heard something just today that they're saying now it's up to 70% of people that have it that don't have any symptoms.
Wow.
70%. That's crazy.
I've probably already had it.
Yeah. Wow.
Because my lungs have been hurting for weeks.
Guys, it's been a lot of fun with you guys again.
Always.
What is it? Day number 35? What's going on? Next week we have day number 42.
Are you tagging the wall, Chris?
Huh?
Are you tagging the wall like prison
I'm
stuff?
checking the wall back there. Yes, we're at 34.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
Can I show you?
You got all his camera. He's gonna switch his camera angles.
It's all set up. I should be able to show you. Hold on.
Well, I mean, how many days was Germany after the States before the lockdown or before?
I think
Wow, you got three. Do you have 3 cameras, Chris?
Yeah, I think we
The dark room camera.
I think we were 2 weeks ahead of you guys. We're
Ahead.
Yeah.
Because California locked down on the 13th of March.
No.
Well, California did. I think we were ahead of the curve.
We're supposed to flatten it. Heyo.
Because that was when the 13th is when Mo had to fly back from Berlin to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. It was about 4 days after Cross Festival, because after Cross Festival, I went straight to the airport and flew to Berlin, and I landed there. And then I was only there for a handful of days before I was like, oh, fuck, we got to go home. I'm going back into the mess. I should stay here, but I'm going back into the fire.
Yeah.
So you played Crossed, huh?
Yeah, I played an after party.
What's the club that they always use?
Spin.
Spin.
Spin is that's like the main club in San Diego.
Yeah.
I've played there before, but that's not the venue I played this time. I was just saying earlier, we played at some newscasting studio.
I was going to come to
I
Cross
played
on the
at the same-
Sunday.
Yeah, I played at the same place. This for the same guys like 6 months before.
Okay.
Because strange venue.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
weird vibe.
But the festival was amazing. The festival was really good. It was really cool. For San Diego, which is such a weird, sleepy town, it was
It's
actually
not you wouldn't think of an electronic festival in San Diego at all.
no, especially right on the the harbor front. I mean, it was pretty impressive. It's pretty cool.
I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews about the festival, so
Okay.
Everybody's got their opinion,
yeah.
but it's cool to see San Diego doing shit. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the big surprise for me.
Should we all be talking in past tense?
Was
Sorry, I got
Old days.
this negative note back into our conversation.
Chris just came and pissed on our rainbow.
Chris, how many cameras do you have set up? 4?
5 actually by now.
5.
Yeah.
I saw like 3 of them just now.
Well, here we go. Here's one. One you're looking at. Another one is back there.
You're using OBS, right?
No.
Oh.
But this
Nice.
is where I put my message board, if I have a message board. And then I have this thing. Yeah. And there's 3 different cameras connected, which are blended.
Oh, wow.
Isn't it cool?
Pretty nice. Very impressive.
That's great. You never have to come out of there ever again.
I'm not planning on, to be honest.
You should do like the Truman Show where you just broadcast your whole life.
Yeah.
Just never turn it off.
That's a good idea. Now we found it. And I put a big donate button next to it, and you just can watch me 24 hours a day. And I don't give a shit.
How come no one has done that in real life yet? A
I'm
real life
sorry.
Truman Show. Just someone just broadcasts their whole life. Like never turn the
There was
camera
a documentary about a group of people in England that lived in a huge housing complex, and they would get all their food free and living free, but they had to agree to live under the fact that all of their rooms were being live streamed all the
It's like
time.
a Big Brother thing, no?
Big Brother, yeah, that's Big Brother.
Yeah.
You know what we should do is once we come out of this and there's a vaccine, we should all go to Chris's, space there and do a broadcast from there, just to
Yeah,
party.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We throw the fog machine on, and we just have a dance here, and everybody plays back to back with each other.
Just hot box the room.
Always.
Everybody gets stoned.
I think what happens at the end, we will reveal that we're just pretending to be on Zoom. We're actually in one apartment.
we're next door.
We just put boxes around us. You just pass me the beer. No, this way.
Well,
all right.
2:00.
Hey,
Yeah.
Dustin, thanks for coming on our show.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
man.
me on, guys. Good to talk to all of you.
Good to see you. Thanks.
I think David and I have a wedding to attend on Zoom in a few minutes.
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Wow.
Not
Is it
not
Danny?
a wedding, but yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah, we got to do that pretty soon. So
Crazy.
All right. So for
Stay strong, guys.
next week, we'll sort out everybody's Facebook, and then we get some more questions of you people back in there. We had a little bit of a technical thing today. But thanks for tuning in. And Matt, David, Mo, Dustin, Ali, love you guys. Have a good night.
good chat.
Ciao.
Good night, everybody. Bye bye. Ciao,
Yeah,
ciao.
weekend.
Peace.
Peace.